7.3 is on the PTS, and we are here live. So we're going to talk about that and more on this episode of this SWTOR Escape podcast from newoverlords.com. Our broadcast astromech today is EPC 467. Where is he? He's around.
Where did he go?
Hey,
Oh, there
buddy.
he is.
There he is, buddy. And with me, who we also heard, who is back on the menu for the podcast tonight, it's Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
When you said 7.3 is back on the PTS, I thought you were going to say it was back on the menu.
It's back on the menu. I've been saying back on the menu quite a bit lately, so I should kind of back off of that. No, but did you catch that I did that intro live? It was not typed out there. And I had to ad lib it, and I got through it. So
you did it live.
I did it live. Yeah, so how's it going? What have you been up to?
So it's going good. I played through the Ilum story on Rhodey and Mayo this week, and that was really interesting because it has been a decade maybe since I've done that. I mean, it's been many years. And it was interesting to see earlier Malgus.
Yeah.
And because he shows up in that story, and then you do the two flashpoints on the imp side. They are Battle of Ilum and the Foundry.
Or False Emperor.
Yeah, False Emperor. Thank you.
Yep.
And my character, who was an assassin, has this great line in there when they're kind of scheming. He's kind of scheming with the Moff that's there, how we're going to beat Malgus, and he says, "He is not invulnerable. Someone put him in that mask."
And we know who that is.
Yeah, we do. It was Jace Malcolm and Satele Shan.
Yes.
On Alderaan, because that was that made me go back and watch that particular Blur trailer,
Deceived,
which is the one called.
Yeah,
that one is the one called Hope.
Hope. Yeah, there's 4 of them.
And I see why, because the ending of it is when you see all the flares.
Right.
Meaning all the victories for the pup side.
Coming up on Alderaan there into the air.
Yeah. All this time later, I still got the feels for the Blur trailer.
Worth it.
I did run into difficulty, though, when I was doing False Emperor. And I thought it was going to be a Starforge problem, but I guess it was just a Seema problem, which I started having this weird lag that was like, not stuttery, but it was like a slideshow lag. And at first it was just when I did bosses. And then it kind of grew. And then it got worse and worse and worse until like I would stop for a few seconds. Until towards the end, I was stopping for like 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I eventually stopped forever.
Right.
And had to Alt F4 out. I was kind of dedicated to finishing the instance, so I just kept hanging in there. But I should have Alt F4 long before then, because when I came back, I was still inside the instance, and I still was able to complete it and get credit and everything. So that was good because I don't usually do this one, but this is a Galactic Seasons target to do flashpoints. And so by doing that, even though I was just doing it for story reasons, I got 2 points for that. I mean, 2 points towards the not points, but I mean, you have to do how many flashpoints?
Yeah.
What I forget is that you get 1 point for any flashpoint.
Oh, right.
I keep saying point, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. You get credit. Yeah, one credit for doing any kind of flashpoint.
Right.
And not doing it. You get more if you do the bonus boss, and so you can get it all done just in one shot if you do the right one with the bonus boss. But yeah, you could do 4 of any. That's pretty cool.
So I went right on into starting the McKeb story.
Cool.
I like the McKeb story. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but I like it.
Yeah.
So I thought, if I'm going to do story, I might as well keep going. I probably won't do Coffee and Kotet, only because I'll probably get to 80 before then.
Right. Right, right, right.
He's 72
Yeah,
now.
I bet you will.
And so that it'll be really hard for me to go back, just self-knowledge. It's hard for me to go back and do things once I've already hit my goal.
Right.
Um, so
Although
but anyway,
although with that in mind, is you might almost want to skip McKeb, do the skip ahead, and start in on the stuff that would get you to be able to do the dailies. You know, you
yeah,
go through Spirit of
yeah,
Vengeance and all of those, although
yeah,
that's a long road, but obviously you'd hit yeah,
yeah.
you'd hit 80 really early in that trek, but you could do that.
And we'll talk about this a little bit later, but the flashpoint, at least on the PTS, that we were looking at this week, has the combat droid, which I also haven't done flashpoints with a combat droid much lately. And that was actually what got me through the False Emperor because obviously the combat droid wasn't having any lag, just like the
Yeah,
NPCs weren't having any lag. So I'd be like totally stopped, and then things would start moving, and different things were dead.
yeah,
And then I'd be stop again when things would start moving. Other things were dead. It was pretty entertaining in a way.
yeah, that combat droid is
I
effective.
yes. Yes, he is effective. Um so yeah, and then also this is an interesting week for Galactic Seasons because there's a couple or maybe 3 even 12-point objectives that I could always do any of them, but or that I might do. And one of them is to do the 5 dark projects and
Yep,
invasion forces, which is easy for me because that's kind of already in my routine.
yep,
And then one of them is to do flashpoints, and one of them was to do the 4 um, lair bosses, which we did this week. We did 2 during MFN, and then another 4 actually during our ops team tonight. So that was good.
yeah, we got him done.
So yeah, and then but what was really fun about MFN is we went to do the Hive of the Mountain Queen, which I think we've gone in there on MFN before, but it's by far not a done deal with MFN, because everyone's can come, and not everybody is experienced, and not everybody has gear, and we did wipe one time, but then due to Max's excellent
Stask.
calling,
No, due to Stask showing up late.
well, yes, yeah, okay. Due to Stask, we were successful the second time, so
Yeah,
that was really exciting and fun.
yeah, we
I
murdered
mean,
it.
it's more fun to win when it's close and when you have to it might not happen and,
Yeah,
so that was very cool.
and
So I've
then
I've been having a good week. How about you, Max?
I too have been having a good week, focused on both the PTS, spent quite a bit of time on there, and focused on Galactic Season. And Galactic Season, as you said, was interesting this week because there were 2 or 5. There were 5 12-point objectives, which they don't usually have. It's usually only 4. And last week, I think there was only 3. Maybe there, or I think there was only 3 last week. So there were 5 this week. So, and then there were 2 that you're going to get automatically, which is get like 100 of the notes of reflection, which you'll just get because you're doing the other objectives, and get 200 conquest points across your legacy. So unless you're focused on those 5 and you make sure you skip the other ones and you get all 5 of those done before any of the other ones accidentally get done, you won't be able to do all 5. I did it right this week, even though I screwed it up last week. Oh, there were 4 last week, and I actually accidentally did it wrong, and got an 8-point objective
Yeah.
done instead of an extra 12-point one. No, like, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna do 100 of them anyway. I'm gonna do 100 for
No,
the
you're right. It doesn't matter, but still
when I'm
yeah,
trying to plan it out, and then I
right.
accidentally do because I did the scanning one on Tatooine where I'm doing the seeker droid, and I didn't need
Yeah.
to do it, and I don't know why I did.
It wasn't even one of the ones that
Right.
happened behind your back.
And it wasn't even that easy of a one. I had to like, it was like scanning around all over the place. And the only things you get credit if you discover something. And all I discovered was 3 monsters that jumped down to the ground and tried to bite my face. I didn't even get like one of the stupid like little treasures or whatever. So this week I did it right. I'm not done, but I will finish probably I could just finish tomorrow because I'll hit conquest on the character that I'm making the dark projects and invasion forces on, but I've been doing one a day so that I get the credit for making them for the daily conquest points. And that's all I need to do. I just need to make 2 more rounds, 2 more dark projects and 2 more invasion forces, and then I will be of 707 and I will have all 5 of the 12-point ones and I will have hit my target. As I said, also did quite a bit on the PTS, and we'll be talking quite a bit about that because did most of the dailies and I did the flashpoint, and we'll show some video of that. But first, we'll talk about the news.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
First up in the news, good news, GSF is going to be in PvP Season 3. Bad news, 2 days later, they decided, nah, I guess that looks a little complicated. GSF will not be in PvP Season 3. Wah, wah. That kind of
Yeah,
made me sad. It made
I
me
get
really
that.
happy to hear it go in, but it made me really sad for it to come right back out.
And then intellectually, I'm happy that they actually I'm happy that they did it, and then I'm happy that when people started asking questions how it would actually work, they're like, "Oh yeah, we didn't really think this through. We should not do this."
Yeah, it
Instead of
wasn't.
doubling down.
Yeah, I'm still, a bit confused about how it all came down because it wasn't even that like the thread wasn't that long. And even now, like they put up the thread, then there was like 2 pages of discussion, then they put up the notice that said, "Okay, I guess this is a little bit more complicated than we expected, so we're gonna take it back down." And then there's 2 more pages of discussion, and that's it. So it was like a really quick, short thing. So I don't know what they expected, for one. For two, the questions that they were asking and the feedback that was going on in the thread was really limited to, "Hey, what would be the
Number of
right target
metals.
for the number of
Right.
metals?"
Yeah.
And so people weren't saying, "Oh my gosh, it will be such a train wreck if you put GSF in it all. Why,
No,
how
no, no,
could you?"
no.
It's
I didn't see that either. I just thought that the questions that they raised or the things that they said made someone in BioWare look at how the metals work or how something works in GSF, and then they realize, "Oh, wait a
yeah,
minute. I don't know if this is going to if we're if this is gonna be the slam dunk that we thought it was gonna be."
yeah. So it was in and it's back out, and maybe someday it will be back in again, and that would be cool if it was.
I hope GSF will be back on the menu, boys.
It looks like meat's back on our menu, boys.
No way.
God. Fine.
Gosh.
I kind of like the maggoty PvP. What else we
So
got in the
also,
news?
speaking of posts on the forums, Joe Stramaglia posted again in the economy thread, and he was clarifying and adding to and thanking people for feedback on the changes to the GTN that are proposed. And there, I mean, I think that people gave feedback on the GTN taxes that they saw on the PTS,
Yeah,
and he explained that that some of them weren't behaving as intended, and then they were changing their thinking on some, but the thinking overall is it would be based on a median GTN value
right.
over a
Average.
fairly recent amount of time. Like they
Right.
don't want it to be go way back in history. Um,
Yeah, over an average, because an average can be gamed much more easily if you're putting things up for 1 credit or you're putting things up for 1 billion credits. You can skew the average very quickly, whereas a median over time is
yeah.
not impossible to screw with, but a little more difficult to skew.
And then he said that they also take the value they somehow figure in also cartel coin value,
Yeah,
which that part I didn't really track. And then he made the comment later that when the whole rework is in, then it will just be back to GTN price again.
right, right. I think they'll. for the things where they don't have enough of a track record, I think they were basically doing a conversion to, what is something that costs this amount of cartel coins tend to cost.
Right.
So I think they're sort
If
of
they
like doing
did
it
have a
that way.
cartel market reference and they didn't have GTN reference, they could fall back on the
Right.
cartel market reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Then he also talked about possibly removing the item trade and mail tax for some sort of, he called them gameplay focused items such as med packs, grenades,
Stims, I'm
um,
sure would fall into that category.
yeah, adrenals.
Makes sense.
And then someone on the forum said, "Can you please do that for dyes as well?" And the point of that person was the dyes that you would, oh, that person was talking about crafted dyes. And the
Mm.
point of that person's point was like, they're so cheap to make, they're not that desirable. I like making them to give to people.
Oh, and
It
to have to
seems,
pay tax to give them to
y-
people?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I guess. If
yeah.
maybe if
Um,
maybe if there's like something under some amount of value, they just sort of skip the tax. But
I mean, I
they
hadn't
can't do it
really,
with everything.
yeah, the tax, like I said last week, the tax for secure trades, I haven't really yet gotten my mind around yet because it does feel weird for it to cost money to give something to somebody.
Yes.
Um, they did comment that they would like to keep guild transfers, so between people that are guildies, to keep that free. But then that was immediately followed up with like 25 posts from people saying that would be so easy to game.
Right.
So um,
Although I
I
had a
can't.
solution to that, which was in the same way that your conquest doesn't count until
Right,
the next week, maybe when you're in that grace period and your name is gray they already have the flag because your name is gray in the guild roster,
right.
maybe the trades don't work for you.
And there were a couple people
Until
that
that
mentioned
time.
that in the thread as
Oh,
well.
were
But
they? Okay, I didn't
and
read
I'm
through it all.
sure that they. I mean, when he said it, he said we're going to watch this very carefully. So they're on there. They're on warning that it might not work. They just would. He basically what he said is they would like to do it.
Yeah.
I would like to see. I would like to be able to give. I don't know. I don't know how. And then he did publish a table. Someone asked them, can you give us some sample prices? And if you kind of reverse engineer the math on it, it's there's factors. It's not just a flat 8% or 9%.
Right. There's a little bit of an algorithm there.
Yeah. However, when we get the new GTN, I'm wondering if like there's going to be market data. I wonder if the median will be included in that market data because that will make it. I hope so
A
because
little
if they're
more
used
transparent.
since yes, a little more transparent because I look at this table and like for instance OEMs and RPMs, the cheaper one has a higher tax
Oh, yeah. You're right.
in the table. Not by much, but just enough so that you go, well, what? Woo? And I mean, it's just an example too. So
Yeah, it's just an example, and the column on the left is the stuff that. So this is actually SWTOR who is asking the question in the forums that she's Lady Admiral. So SWTOR asked the question. SWTOR put these prices in on the left, and then uh, uh, Joe put the tax in on the right. They don't necessarily they aren't necessarily going off the same data. So while SWOTORISA's data shows the OEMs less than the RPMs, it might not actually be based on the medians that
no,
Joe
I
has.
understand that.
So
Yeah, but I
Joe's
mean,
Joe's is probably going off on median data that he's got in a table. And so who knows where SWOTORISA got these numbers. So
I didn't realize that he might not have been using her numbers.
yeah, I think that might be the case. But yeah, okay.
But
So
I mean, it's interesting times.
you're right. And the other interesting bit of this time, which was talked about in the thread, a couple people mentioned was, hey, wow, this is a lot of back and forth. This is really appreciate you guys getting in there, hashing it out with us and interacting with the community. That's really cool too. Which it is. It is. That's cool.
It is, yeah, and I'm happy with how civil all the interchange is too. I mean,
Right.
there were a couple posts of people just going, "This is bogus and won't work. You suck," but not many.
Not many, but those still do exist, and I do not know why they exist. That's
Yeah, I
you know,
don't either.
I mean, yeah, come on. Come on,
They
man.
they need a red panda puppy.
Red pandas. Red panda is the animal of the day.
It's to make them happy.
Yes, they are pretty cool little animals. Also, final bit of the official news is the continuing list of known issues is being updated by Jackie on a regular basis. They're tracking down new bugs and getting those out there. It's good to see. One of the things that caught my eye was this item that said the starship hook outside the stronghold in the new Mechshaw stronghold is not visible in editing mode. And I said, "What? There's a stronghold, a starship hook outside the stronghold? I don't know where it is. I don't know where it's supposed to be." I kind of looked around. Obviously, it's not visible in editing mode or not in editing mode. I'm excited to see it. I hope it's just like floating, like floating out there, and you'll be able to like put your class ship and just have it like hovering outside the stronghold there. Because I don't know where they're gonna put it. But that cool, cool.
And
So they
how
can be
did somebody
starships.
figure out that it was missing?
I don't know. I don't know. I have no
It's very
idea.
meta.
Yeah. Couple other things in there that are talked about regularly is the Warzone and Arena scoreboards not sorted properly, and I think that's part of this. Hopefully, they're going to look at it every time. Say there's 8 people in the match, 4v4 in an arena, or 16 people in an 8v8. Each time one person leaves the match at the end, it like blanks out the screen and resorts it again. So you got to like close it and open it back up again to see, and then the next person will leave. And like people keep leaving, and you're like trying to look at the screen. It's really annoying. Um, GSF, the medals column has been empty for a long time. Hopefully that's going to get fixed. So there's a few things like that. So that kind of stuff showing up in the known issues list is good to see because it means they know what's going on. Another known issue that bit people this week, which is unfortunate, was one of the objectives to kill four lair bosses, or four points, or kill 4 lair bosses. The colossal monolith counts for 3, except if you do the colossal monolith, only the person who got the last shot on the colossal monolith was getting the 3 points. Everyone else was getting either 0 or
I
1.
mean, that would probably be me.
Yes, it would probably be Seema getting the last shot. Seema was like tearing it up as the healer. She's like tearing it up in its vet mode Eternity Vault tonight because we just ran through there real fast. She was in the council fight. She was the first one done. And then how then the tanks are taking a little bit longer. You can put one shot into another person's target. Seema puts one shot into like Corley's target, our tank's target, and kills it.
Perfectly timed.
She's yeah, as a healer, she's got her DPS boots on or whatever
But
the
that
case
is
may
kind
be.
of disappointing because I Colossal Monolith to me is worth 3 points.
It is.
So that would be disappointing, especially, I mean, not so much if you go with like a guild group and you were used to doing it and all that stuff, but say you got with a pug and it took a while to get the group together and blah 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 blah, and everyone gets there and then nobody gets credit.
Yeah.
Well,
I
except
mean
for
that
one
I'm
person.
that type that's the type of fight that takes 15 minutes to explain. Let alone how long it takes to do or to try it or to get people to line up. But it's like, well, who's going to get what color? Where do the colors show up? What about the orange circle that drops 15 times? Where do you drop that? And how do you get, how do you go, okay,
And
you got to run
also,
over, you got to tag your color, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
the I mean, kind of semi-related, the weekly mission for killing the queen. I didn't get credit for it tonight on either side, on either character that did it.
The weekly? Huh.
Yeah. I mean, it's no big deal. Like the reward is like 50,000 credits.
I think
But
Corley's got that JP rifle and he's disintegrating things. And I think that's why we're not getting credit. No disintegrations.
But it was on both sides, and he doesn't have
Yeah,
that on both sides.
I guess it doesn't have it on both sides. Weird, weird, weird. Let's see. How about a little guild and community news? We got some fun guild stuff cranking, don't we?
Yeah. So just to summarize, our whole guild events are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. So Tuesday night is what I'm always talking about, MFN. So like this week we did GSF targets, and we did some rampaging under the fierce leadership of Machete. And then Wednesday nights is PvP night, and Friday night, most Fridays, not every Friday, is GSF,
Yep.
which stands for Get Some Fun.
Get some fun. Get some
And
fun night.
and we're not the ones who made that up.
No,
It sounds like something we would say, but
exactly. Because it sounds like something we would say. That's the spouse of one of our guildies was like, "Oh, is that a get some fun night?" Because we're always like, we come up with an acronym, we come up with we think it should be, then make an acronym out of it, and vice versa. So, yeah, that stuff is going
and
really well, and
so those are like open to anybody. And then we do have like operations teams with set rosters that go on most of the other nights.
that
I
need
think-
subs from time to time. In fact, I think
Yeah.
last night's team needed a
Yeah.
sub. Get in there, like the Wednesday team, check in. So get in our Discord, aie-guild.org. No, yeah, aie-guild.org has the Discord link right there on the page. Jump in there, say hi, say hey if you guys need a sub for any of your teams. We've got teams running on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think mostly those nights. That was a Godfather reference also, but my English very good. Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. All right. Also
Pepsi.
shout out.
No Coke. Pepsi.
that's not Godfather. That's John Belushi, the Billy Goat Tavern sketch from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, cheeseburger. Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger.
No, it's not. I mean, Godfather's not the only thing that has accents.
The Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday is a quote from Godfather.
Oh, I did not know that.
It is yeah.
I saw The Godfather. I haven't seen any of the others, but because the first one just freaked me out so bad.
It's a tough story. It's a tragedy. Anyway, also shout out to Cal from Today and Tour. They have only done one round so far, but the SWTOR Galactic Championship is still going on. A bunch of content creators and streamers are signed up, and Cal is running a contest where they are challenged from week to week. And I don't see I don't know if they did this week's challenge yet, or maybe they're doing it, or the video just isn't up yet. But there should be another video going up soon for round 2, and then someone gets eliminated each week. The weakest link gets eliminated, and by the end, someone will win big prizes, and it looks pretty interesting. He's doing a really good job on that. And there's like Kogus is in there, Zam's in there, the competitors, and so it's pretty
some
fun.
really good players in there. So
Yeah. Shout out to the chat room. I had technical issues, and they were very patient in waiting for me to get those done. I fixed them by rebooting again and again and again for 20 minutes until everything started working. Not the way to fix things, folks, but it's all I can make work, and then that's all that works. I don't know. I've taken everything apart and put it back together again. I don't know what the problem is. Anyway, I think we've got a PTS to talk about. Let's check it out.
Power will be yours if you are willing to burn.
I did check out the PTS. I got on the PTS. I got that all set up.
I did too.
It is. So it's Voss. It's all on Voss, and the Flashpoint is on Voss. It's very Voss themed. We saw this in the dev stream, and we talked about it last week in the dev stream. This was so let's break it down, because there's quite a bit to break down. There's like the little missions, and then there's a flashpoint, and I've got some video of the flashpoint that I can end up showing as well. But let's talk about the setting to start and getting there. The PTS itself is wiped completely, so you got to copy characters over again. I had a little bit of problem, like I can't unlock, the things like inventory slots. I can't expand my inventory anymore probably because they took some of the functionality. They put functionality in to bring some more of your legacy unlocks over, and then they had to take it back out because there were some glitches associated with what people are able to do with that. And now you used to be able to spend credits to do like the unlocks and unlock bank tabs and things like that. That doesn't work right now, unfortunately. So if you only if you only have like on one of my characters, I only have like 3 of the rows unlocked for whatever reason, which is really kind of weird. So it was annoying looking. Oh, I created a new character. That's what didn't have anything unlocked on it. So yeah, got to copy characters over. You have to have the PTS downloaded. Doing that. It's a big download if you haven't done it. But then you copy it over. You either copy it over or create a level 1 character. If you create a level 1 character, you can walk right outside either wherever your starting area is. Like if you start as a bounty hunter on Hutta, walk right outside of the cantina where you're talk to Mako. If you meet Mako for the first time, there's a droid which will teleport you right to the landing zone on Voss. And then there's the stuff on right there that can boost you directly to 80 and give you a full set of 336 gear, including augments, including tacticals and things like that. Or copy a character over, as we said. So yeah, so then you get to Voss. And what's your first impressions of the new area, the new landing zone on Voss, and the fact that it's a landing zone and not just like more of the other zone and that kind of thing, Seema?
So for some reason that I cannot explain, I do wish you could just connect it. Like you could just like ride, you know, from place to place, from Old Voss to New Voss. I realize that you can by going on the galaxy map. Um, but
I
I wish it was connected in that. Like I've been saying for a while that I would love for them to go back to the OG planets and add things to them.
Yeah,
And this isn't like 100% what I meant.
right. Uh, Although it is very much just adding to the planet for one. For two,
Yeah. Like
I'm kind of okay with it because my perspective on it is coming from playing. I play a lot of space games,
mhm.
space games with planets, and planets are big. So like if there was a like
Like
if
I
you
say,
yeah
there's no I don't know where my thing is coming from. So yes,
yeah
your arguments are very logical.
now like the fact that it actually doesn't work this way. It does in like Black Hole and on Corellia. You can go to the shuttle that you land at. You can click on the door of the shuttle and you can go to the other area. That
Mhm.
makes sense to me. If I got on a speeder here, the speeder ride would have to like take 2 hours or 3 hours to get around to get
Right,
around the
right.
planet.
I think it's
So
sort of
uh,
like when McKeb was brand new and people were like, I appreciate that the taxis are really fast because they don't actually go in real time, but also disappointed that you just go to
yeah,
black in
right.
between. So
I
I
You're
guess
right.
think
You're
it's
right.
sort of like that. Um,
I would like to see the taxis. McKeb or Meksha. Meksha is a place I would love for it not to go black and be able to just see that taxi ride through through the very Blade Runner esque scenery on Meksha.
but okay, so now I've said that, so like put that aside. The look is really nice. I mean, the trees with the leaves fluttering and the grass waving, and I mean, it does look really nice.
It does.
And I like the buildings. I think they're not 100% just buildings, you know, copied and pasted.
Um,
Uh,
there, s- I don't know that. uh, I don't think there are any new art assets. So I
yeah, I mean that could be. I don't know.
now
Like the
when we did this last when we talked about it on the dev stream and we were watching the dev stream and we're watching, we're looking at it. I was hyping it up and saying, "Wow, it looks like they put new game assets in. It looks like they up the resolution of the textures like they did for Runic, which they did. Yeah, everything on Runic is slightly higher, like they're using higher res texture maps or whatever 4K, 8K texture maps. So in fact, I have a folder here. Here we go. I took screenshots of both VOS, old VOS and new VOS, and I compared them side by side, and it's not. There's no difference. It's exactly the same. So like this is a picture of the tree on old VOS, and this is a picture of the tree on new VOS, and here we are live, and there's the tree on VOS. As I looked at that, I looked at the ground, I looked at the grass, I looked at the buildings. There's no difference. It's all of the same
Yeah.
assets.
And that was one of the reasons why I wanted them to come back to Old Planet. So I'm totally okay with them reusing assets.
Yeah. Now
Um,
they're arranged well, so
and I also like the
which is
idea of
true.
it being lesser of an area. Like not everything that comes into the game has to be the biggest thing ever.
Right, like a whole planet.
And
Like Runic is definitely a whole planet.
right,
This is just
right.
like like a little zone, a sizable zone, but a zone.
But I also hope it's not just a like some people have been saying it's sort of like one and done. Like you run everything here once and then you never come back. I don't want it to be that either.
I'm Yeah, I kind of think it's designed to leave you the option to come back, and there's very little drive to come back. So let's get into that. So
Okay, yeah.
because there's two
I mean, if
things you do when you
if
get
there
it.
is a reason, if there is a reason to come back to it, we don't know what it is.
Well, no, well, achievements. Achievements would be the only thing that we know for sure, and I think that's all that there is.
But
So
achievements is
you got to do
I
the
would class achievements with one and done.
well, but you got the achievements are to like come back here 10 times and do all of it 10 times. So there's like that kind of achievements.
Right, but
So
like
I guess
the
that
black
is one
hole,
and done, but
yeah, yeah.
but black hole, the only extra thing that black hole and section X have is the reputation. So
And it also shows up in Conquest and in Galactic Season.
so if the conquest would be another thing, I do expect it to show up in conquest to have some conquest. Well, I expect it to. I could be wrong. So
And also,
I'm not 100% on if it's
yeah,
going to show up as a
if
conquest
I
objective.
want to, like I've done it a few times with Rhodey and Mayo, I've just gone and done Black Hole because that's an easy way to get like a level and a half.
I could see it, but that I think you could use this for. You could use this
You
to
could,
you could use it as dailies, even though there's not a weekly associated with the dailies. So there's two things you do
we'll
here.
see. Yeah.
There's the quote unquote Voss missions, which they kind of said they're not dailies, but they are. Although there's not a weekly for them, they're dailies. You can come back and do them every day. And then there's the flashpoint. So the flashpoint, you could definitely do it from the group finder, or you can come here physically and walk in. And then there's the missions. The missions show up on two places. So there's the main mission board where you get the I'm not eligible for this conversation. I think I might have done them all. So I should have picked a different character to show this on. Let me do that while we're talking. But so you can come in and do the missions. I don't know why. So let's talk about this for just a second. I don't know why they talked about this as it's not dailies, and they didn't just add a weekly and make it a daily area. What are your thoughts on that? Why?
So
Because they
it
are. They're
made me think
dailies.
of it made me think of like a lot of people listening may not even know this because they weren't around then, but the planets used to all have planetary missions associated with them, and then it got revamped into the heroic system. So a lot of those missions just got dropped because they didn't meet the criterion for or the criteria for being time consuming enough in order to earn the conquest rewards, which I think was renowned at the time. But so there's a lot of quests that used to be on Belsavis. There's a lot of quests that used to be on all of them, you
Yeah.
know. And so, I mean, I kind of wonder if maybe they're going to go bring some of those back because this seems like that. And also, I think maybe we're just flopping around because they haven't explained it yet. And one of the
Right.
reasons they might not have explained it is because they don't want to tell the story
Right.
because that would be a spoiler. So, I mean, I
And
think
there's
all of this stuff is going to become clear.
there's red doors here that obviously have story, you know,
Right,
like
right.
like
And like
there's
in the
like here
Flashpoint,
is a you're not allowed in this phase at this time. There's obviously story that's going to be going on in here. So yeah, there's some of that.
like I went into Flashpoint and I saw some Voss commandos and they were like green to me and I walk up to them and they had a speech bubble and I like, okay, let's have a talk. And they just went boop red and started killing me. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, there was a conversation in there.
Right.
That's a spoiler.
But there are a fair number of these. They could do a weekly to do 8 of these, and it would be a solid amount of effort to count for any kind of regular weekly. I don't know why they didn't just do that. I think there is enough, and it
Well,
would be a
there
solid enough daily area
that,
to
and
as
that's why I feel like there must be a reason that we'll find
right.
out.
I guess it'll be interesting to see. Uh, regardless, you
I do like the
there's
area though. Except
there's
for I did have this experience where I was clicking on a mission item, so it had like a little bar, like 1 or 2 seconds, and a strong mob came up behind me and basically just whacked Shay Vizsla in the face and killed her dead.
yeah. So there's a lot, there's a lot of that goes on here. So that's all part of this mission area, and there is some story. I don't know if that's going to be a story element, but the Zerka. So okay, I guess spoilers. So we're going to talk a little bit about spoilers here. Obviously, there's no story even in here, but if you don't even want to know anything about anything, well, then you should probably skip this one.
I
Uh,
mean, there's no story, just to be clear, there's no story in here because the story isn't available in the
Right.
PTS.
Right. So we're
Yeah.
not going to be spoiling story, but we're going to be spoiling some of the surprises and talking about like some of the bonus boss and the flashpoint and that kind of thing. Just be ahead. So there is these Zerka assassins or Zerka spies or whatever that pop up. There's an achievement that deals with them, but they just like pop out of nowhere. Maybe while you're like fighting other things, and they come and like whack on you. I I I don't know if there's a reason behind that, but that seemed a little I don't yeah. Hunt down the Zerka spies who still haunt the interpreter's retreat. So this who still haunt the interpreter's retreat. Maybe there is a story element that explains why there are
Hmm.
Zerka infiltrators that that you need to kill 15 of for an achievement. And they do you can't go find them. You have to just, like, go do stuff, and then they jump out at you, out of nowhere. So there's that. There's the very tiny Muvor, which I did not, find. I don't know if it's I think there's prerequisites, like a little thing you need to unlock, like, like the tiny flutter plume thing
Yeah.
on Neuron. Oh, planet. I because there are like little ingredients around and stuff that you need to collect up, and things that you assemble in some way. I believe for that. But then there's most of it's droids, and then muvors, big ones and small ones, but mostly droids and muvors, and they're littered all over this place. It's actually
Hmm.
kind of hard to get around. If you
Yes.
just want to say, "Hey, I just want to go. I just want to do this one mission. So I just need to hop over to this shrine of whatever over on the side of the map." You you cannot. I tried to like ride through a bunch of the packs
Right.
of
And they
mobs and
dismount you.
de-aggro, and they like kept on like all the way across the map. I had this giant pack on me, and I barely survived. And
Oh,
Shavisla
my
did
thing
not.
was I would start to go through one pack and they would immediately dismount me.
Yeah, that too. I was getting immediately dismounted by a lot of things. I got like one hit from a Varanticus, and I'm dismounted. A single hit. Like, what is going on? But okay. So don't think now. I just don't even bother riding through them. I just kill everything in my path. So there's a lot of that going on. There's the Zerkas popping out, and then there's a lot of other things that still pop out at you. I think most of that is related to the missions. And when you're doing one of the missions, it'll be like, "Hey, go find this thing." And I don't know if I was unlucky, but so
Yeah. I think some of them were like you click on the quest item and then things pop out, but
so the Shrine of Contemplation, you go in here and you do a thing in here. When you come back, there's work teams. There's 5 work teams. So I did earlier. I was doing the mission that was ongoing. Assess ongoing threats, and you have to check in with each of the 5 work teams. So you come in here and you see all these work teams, and you're supposed to like walk up to them and check them out. So I'm like looking around. There's a bunch of workers, all fine. And then you walk up to the pack and it says, "Oh, whacked out droids, jump out of the shadows and come in to attack the workers." Um, okay, so then I kill a couple droids. Then I'm looking around. It's a pretty nice place. There's some workers, and so I go walk up, to talk to these workers. These workers were not in danger until I show up. I'm the danger. Every time I show up by any of these workers, 5 times, they're perfectly fine. They're probably like see me coming like, "Oh, Jiminy Christmas, here comes this guy again." As soon as he gets here, these droids are gonna pop out and shoot me in the face. Max, no, stay away. Don't come here. Yeah, I'm the common denominator there. I'm the danger. So a bunch of those kinds of things. Scan for this here. Oh, guess what? Some Muyuvors jump out of the shadows and come and chomp on your face. Scan for security. Do a security scan over here. Oh, more droids jumping out, and they're gonna jump on your face. So that's mostly the theme of a lot of these missions. Not all of them. Some of them get more complicated and interesting. In fact, I like the museum tour. I think that's the first thing you do in the Shrine of Contemplation. Or maybe one of the other. Maybe it's the shrine on the other side. But there's collecting up some stuff, resetting, helping clean up the camp, helping out the Gormak, and then a lot of, hey, go lure out these hidden dangers and let them chomp on you because I don't want them to chomp on me. So did you do many of the missions?
no, I did not. I did the flashpoint and I did one mission.
So Shrine of
But
Judgment, that was the fun
I
little
kind of
museum
got
tour.
a little put off by how hard it is to get around because yes, I also have the option of just killing my way through, but that's tedious for me.
Right, as a healer.
As not only as a healer, but as a player. I mean, it's just not my favorite
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, like killing a bunch of trash, what feels like killing a bunch of trash to get to your objective. Now, if you're doing all of the missions and you're doing them sort of like in the right order, then
Yes.
you need to kill all of that stuff anyway. And
Yes.
because it drops like the
And I
tablets
can
and drops the
see,
things.
in a sort of a daily area, I'll just keep calling back to black hole, where you part of it is you kind of get some satisfaction from figuring out what the best way is to do things, the best order, and kill these guys because then when you're finished, you're going to need to click on boxes, and the boxes are right here, and blah 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 blah.
Right.
I took one. This is probably the wrong thing to do, but I only took one mission because my idea was I would use this one mission. It would be clear to me what the mission was about, and I would see some of the area and all that stuff. If I would have picked them all up, then maybe all the killing wouldn't have been as pointless.
Right. Right, exactly. And it ends up being pretty obvious that it's not, because you get objectives to go kill everything, basically, to
Yeah.
kill a bunch of these things until you find the whatnot. you gotta kill a bunch of those things over there, and then you gotta kill a bunch of the Ranticuses, and then you gotta kill a bunch of the. So you're like, oh, I guess I needed to kill all these things anyway. So I should have realized that. Yeah. See now here, I've got to diagnose the problems. I've got to find these
Mhm.
tablets, and as you
Mhm.
start to do more and more of these, you do these scans, and then these scans say, okay, you found some trash. Okay, it turns out the wildlife in the area has run off with pieces of these tablets. So go kill everything. Um, Still, you got to kill a bunch of stuff even to get to those initial scan locations and stuff. So there are two. It, it's sort of like, I guess technically there's five mini zones. It's more like two halves and then like a building or a shrine or an area. There's like which makes up three more areas of the map. So there's the town, the main town hub. There's the open wilds area, and then northwest and east of the wild west and east of the wild areas are the two shrines, and then north of the north entrance is a little Voss or a Gormak camp, and then a Gormak building where there's a fun quest, which I didn't do yet, but it sounds interesting. It's like sort of like the cooking quest in the
Hmm.
the
Feast of Prosperity.
exactly Feast of Prosperity. Um, there's also the mission board in town where you start, and one of the missions in town is, hey, just right here around town, pick up a bunch of supplies and bring them to the Gormak camp. You do that, and then it opens up a second mission board at the Gormak camp where the rest of the missions are. It's only about 8 missions or so total, I believe, um, and they all seem repeatable, like daily-ish, even though they don't want to call them dailies. But those are the two places that you're going to need to go and do them. So keep that in mind. And it
I
also
mean,
seems like you have to like do the initial mission off the board to get like the repeatable version of the mission on the board too. Yeah, you were saying?
no, I just something that you said made me think of McCab, and McCab is just another planet that used to have these dailies
Yeah.
that they don't have anymore. They just have the heroics.
They have right. I think you can still do a bunch of those dailies as GSI though, can't you?
No, there were different ones. There were ones that weren't GS.
You're
Yes,
right.
you can
You
still
can't do
do
them
the
for
GSI
Macab.
ones.
Isn't there Macab rep? You can't do them for the Macab rep? I don't know. But yeah, because you're right. I would stack. You would do like there was a GSI in the volcano area where there was also one of the Macab planetary heroics in that area. Um,
And I don't remember why I did them. I mean, was it for rep? Was it
I
for
think it was for
credits?
rep. I think it was for rep. Yeah. There's a Macab rep, right? Um, what?
But if it was for credits, maybe one of the things they're waiting for is, their efforts to balance the economy.
Yeah, Macab Imperial Forces rep.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah,
a
and I think McCab Imperial Forces, right?
I'm a legend. I am the terror of Macab. Uh, uh, so there are, as we said, there are achievements. There are achievements to do 30 of the Voss reconstruction missions and 30 of the Gormak missions. So there are reasons to come back and repeat the missions. There's
Mhm.
no rep though. So that is interesting that there's no rep. I'm not sure why there's no rep. I kind of feel like, again, that's another thing they just should have thrown in there.
I mean, at the very least, because since you still need Voss rep, um, they could give Voss rep.
That is right. That is one of the few reputations that I for whatever reason I just never finished. It's not like I think what it ended up as is Voss was just so far down the path that as I did like every alt, I would always like level to level cap before I ever got to Voss. So
Right.
Voss
Right.
is, I mean, I still have to finish things like the the pod racer, the pod racer ones. I'm not done with GSI. GSI is another
And
old one I'm not done
and
with.
the heroics on Voss are a
Ooh,
bigger
I'm
time commitment,
close.
just like the ones on Macab are.
I'm real
So
close on Voss. I could get Voss done in a day. I'm only like 4,000 away from um legendary on Voss. Huh? Didn't realize that. But yeah, if they were, yeah, you're right. They should have at least given us Voss rep because it is. We're on Voss. We're doing Voss things. They should give us Voss reputation for it.
yeah, Eflux in chat is saying some of the heroics on Voss hit harder than most heroics. Yeah, that's why I compare them to the heroics on Macab. They're just a lot of mobs, and it's a lot of gameplay and a lot of time. Not saying they're bad. It's just people choose like Balmora because it's faster.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting. It's an interesting area. I like the layout, even if it's all existing art assets. It's still well put together, well
I mean,
formed.
I really like that they used all existing art. I mean, I think they should do this for more planets as
The
a .1 type of thing.
right. I would really like to see though to do it with existing art assets, but maybe juice them up just a little bit, give them a little bit of the runic treatment. Uh, add some more things in. Uh, add some more art assets. Maybe like I don't know, make some of the buildings. Uh,
Right. So Eflux is saying the rep for Voss is for the pre-destroyed Voss. So in a way, it doesn't make sense to get rep for the old version of Voss in this area.
yeah, I guess, but there's no phasing, so Voss is Voss. I mean, you can still go back to the other Voss and fight the Nightmare Pilgrim, and
But I
it's not
mean,
like
Voss, it's not really Voss's Voss because the rep you're getting is with the Voss people.
with
And
and it
now,
is with the reconstruction. This is reconstruction rep, not these are reconstruction tasks, not Voss
oh yeah, so like, does that
planetary.
count towards the achievement for killing Veranticus?
Does the one that I just killed,
Yeah,
is that an achievement outside of the where is that achievement?
it's a Voss planetary achievement.
I don't know.
I mean, but that's the kind of question.
Yeah. Does this even count as the planet Voss? That's a good I don't know. If it's a beast,
Wow, you've done a lot on Voss, I can see.
well, why would this all be 0? This shouldn't be 0. This is something's wrong with this.
Oh, because we're on the PTS.
Right. But some of the stuff copied over, like 4% on Mech Shah, or 6% on Mech Shah, 4% on Makeb, 100% on the Imperial Fleet, and 0 on Voss, 0 on Droman Koss. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. But I did not get credit for killing a Varentikai uh, for in the Voss achievement there that I just killed. Like here's more droids. I'm just going up to the Gormak camp up here. I think what we're going to end up doing is talking about the Flashpoint next week.
Oh, are we running out
Because
of time? Yeah, it is getting late, isn't
yeah,
it?
we've already we've just been talking about Voss and this stuff for the last hour, which is worth it because you know it's solid content. It's a new area, and it's interesting to see it tie together. It is obvious that there's going to be some story elements, and I think that might tell more of both what's going on here, why some of these things are happening, as we said, like
Mhm.
why there's the
I think
Zerka
there's
infiltrators.
yeah, I like it. I like many things about it. I know I was complaining about some aspects, but it's more I was just more bringing up things that we still need to learn.
Yeah.
So overall I do like it.
So this area that I'm in here is the Gormak work camp, and then you come over here and it says, "Hey, go find the Gormak board," and this is where you can pick up the help the Gormak, which is, hey, do some security checks around the area, which is things come up and jump out at you. Do some cleanup with a cleanup droid, and then the Cantina in Crisis one. So the Cantina in Crisis is the one that's supposed to be like, hey, where you go in here, and you're supposed to be helping out
Panic at the Cantina.
It's like Panic at the Disco.
Yes, that is the reference that I was trying to make.
And here we are, complete hygiene assessment. It's not supposed to be as frantic as the missions for Feast of
Feast of
Prosperity. I received an abandoned to-go order. Where's the hygiene assessment? How do I do the hygiene assessment here? This is a nice little kitchen, though, isn't it? Look, it's like a food hall style kitchen. These big fireplaces. I like this fireplace. Look at this. It's like a big
Yeah,
fire
those are
pit with a
cool.
bunch of. It's like a huge, like fire, like car-sized fireplace with multiple coal pits where you can roast a whole Varanticus over a spit, but then it's got like all the pipes coming up out of the top. Ooh, look at this cooling unit with all the drinks. This looks really
That's
cool
got to
with
be a deco.
the lit up bar behind it. I really
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, I like this, and then I like these long tables. It's multiple tables put together. It's like a long family style seating. Yeah, I like this little area. Big bars. Will there be a cantina?
I like big bars, and I cannot lie.
So yeah, we'll have to do these as well. But as we said, we'll get more of the story on why we're doing these things potentially as that comes up. The Flashpoint, we'll talk about more next week in detail at the inside of the Flashpoint, but there is on the PTS, which you can try out right now, there's a story mode, which you go in and you get the droid to do it. There's some secrets inside of there. There's a little bit of a puzzle to open one of the doors, and then a continuation of that puzzle if you're tricky about it, which I did not find on my first run through, even though I went back and forth, but now I know where it is. I may run it again. Maybe Seema and I can run it again and do the bonus boss. Because then there's a bonus
Yeah.
boss in there, and you can do the bonus boss on story mode or solo mode with the droid. So if this ends up being one of those that ends up at Conquest, do Shrine of Silence, and a bonus boss. This will be one of those ones that you'll be able to get a lot done all at once. And then also if you're doing so there's solo mode, there's veteran mode and master mode, which you can check out. And then as you go through, you'll notice a few of the mobs, especially the end boss, are not done. They're not complete. And the tooltip on it will say not final art asset. And we already heard on the dev stream about the final boss. We'll show you what the placeholder is next week for now. And then we'll flash back to what we saw on the dev stream for what that final boss, the curse, is going to look like, which is really, really cool. But yeah, you can come here on the PTS. You can try that out. You can run the flashpoint. It's a good flashpoint. Seems pretty good to me. Not a ton of trash and some good fights. Especially even in solo mode. Still some good fights. Pretty easy on solo mode, I'd say. How did it feel to you?
Yeah, easy.
Okay.
And I mean because of the combat droid.
Yeah, that combat.
But
droid.
I don't mean that in disparaging. I think that's good. I like it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be solo story. Enjoy
Then when
the
I go
scenery.
back then when I go back with my friends and we run veteran and master mode, then it can be challenging.
Right, exactly, as it should be. So yeah, interested to hear what everyone else has to think about it as well. And I am really interested to see what the story ends up being and what the story elements are here. And then the story that happens outside of here too, like the Malgus part. I think that's really going to be a highlight of what's coming in 7.3. Anything else before we wrap it up then, Seema?
No, I say that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. It's a wrap. So with that, we will take EPC 467 droid, kick him out an airlock to broadcast this episode to everyone out there. All the feed and subscribe links are on newoverlords.com, and our videos are always up on YouTube/newoverlords. You can also come chat with us in our Discord at newoverlords.com/Discord. There's plenty of chatter in there. I was going back and forth with some people trying to figure out what was going going on with some of these missions, jump in there. If you've got comments for us, that's a great place to come and catch us. You can follow me still on Twitter at Max the Gray and at The New Overlords. But you can also follow me, apparently, on Mastodon at Max the Gray at mastodon.social, Jeff Villamek at mastodon.social, and New Overlords at mastodon.social. I haven't posted anything, except I did post the going live for my Max the Gray at mastodon.social. But that's all like federated. You don't have to be on the mastodon.social instance. I don't know. There's a lot of ways that Mastodon works that I don't think we need to get into. But if you do end up on there, I'm up now, just as of 2 days ago, on there as well. For all the AIE LA Act as Guild information, we are on Starforge when it is up and running. It did go down. I have to get rebooted last night.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
But it was 3 minutes. But if you want to come check us out in that and in all the games that we play, like a week and a half from now, we're going to be in the Diablo stress test that's going to be going live. We're going to have some groups in there running people so you can get the achievement at getting up to 20 and killing the world boss, so you can get the extra little deco to hang on your horse. But we play tons of games. We play all the games, but Star Wars is one of our bigger ones. We have guilds on both the Republic and the Imperial sides. Jump in the SWTOR section. We've got SWTOR spoiler section to talk about stuff when the story does come out. We've got our main channel to ask for a guild invite. We'd love to have you jump in there. We'll get you connected up, and then you're in the whole guild, and you can get in there and connect with anything and everybody that's playing all of the games. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.